Hey guys, Ox here and welcome back to my channel. We are finally reviewing an Akko board, and today we're gonna take a look and listen at the ACR Top 75. But before we do that, let's quickly unbox it first. So we have the PCB, and finally it's a south-facing PCB. Next would be the plates, and we do have a brass plate here. It's my first time trying out a brass plate, so next, we will have a free keycap puller and a switch puller, and the pre-lube stabs. This is a plate mount stabilizers, and then next, of course, the screws for the board itself, and also we have a USB cable. So this is a coiled cable. Underneath it, we do have the PCB to plate foam. I think this is a silicone one, and a PE foam sheet. And lastly, the board itself. Now looking at it, it is indeed an acrylic case. So they do have an aluminum case for this, but the one that we got sent out is the acrylic or a frosted acrylic version. But more on that later, and let's do the proper build guide. First, let's start with the stabs. As mentioned, this is a snap-in or a plate mount stabilizer. So all you have to do is just align it to the cutouts for the stabs and just snap it in and you should be good. So we're gonna use it on stock because it's already pre-factory lubed. Once we are done with the stabs, take out your PCB, align it with the switch pad, and then the PCB to plate foam, but I think this is a silicone one, but whatever. Align it all together because we're gonna put in the standoff. Now let's screw in the standoff. So we have 4 standoff for the plates. So all you have to do is just find 4 holes and then just screw it in, because the importance of this one is the standoff is the one that will be holding all together the PCB and the plate, or the plate to the PCB or PCB to the plate, vice versa. But yeah. Once we're done with the standoff, go ahead and install the top silicone O-ring to the mounting points of the plate. Now, once we are done installing the top silicone O-ring, take out your top case, and then as you can see, we do have a metal screw-in inserts here, which is really nice because you don't have to worry about any cracking on the mounting points. So just align them carefully because the silicone O-ring tends to pop off, so just be careful and just align it all together if ever. Now let's screw it in all together. So this is a top mount board, so we're gonna screw it into the top case. Once done, get your bottom case, as we're gonna connect the JST cable to the daughter board. Now for this one, you don't have to be scared. It's really easy. All you have to do is just to align it carefully and you should be fine. Lastly, install the final screws onto the bottom case. So the bottom case has already a rubber feet on it. So I really like how simple it is at the back. There's no like big Akko branding, just a subtle one on the bottom left. So here we are, the all assembled ACR Top 75. Now for the switches, we're gonna be using the Black Sesame linear switches by Invokeys. I'll be making a full review on the switches soon, but let's go ahead and install the switches. Please don't mind the F-row keys, as I really forgot that I need more than 75 switches for this build. But here we are, a fully assembled Top 75 by Akko. And yeah, the keycaps. So the keycaps we'll be using is a GMK set. This is my very first GMK set that I got into the hobby. This is the GMK Mitulet. And yeah, before we start the sound test, let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Top 75 by Akko. And that was a sound test for the Akko Top 75. Please do let me know on what you think about them on my comment section down below, and let's have some quick discussions. I would also like to thank you as well if you made it up to this point of the video. Now let's talk about my comments on the board. Let's first start with the build quality and design. So for the frosted acrylic look, honestly, I didn't like it at first, but it kinda grew on me. It doesn't look like a cheap plastic board, and a look from afar, it doesn't look like an Akko board, which is a huge compliment. As mentioned earlier, the top case has a metal screw inserts, meaning to say it's more safer as it would avoid cracks on your case. I think this should be more common for acrylic boards along this price range, so good job for Akko. The typing angle is a bit high from what I'm used to. It took me like a whole day to get used to it, but it's not really a deal breaker for me. The layout is really nice. It's unexploded 75, which looks more symmetrical and pleasing to the eyes, unlike the exploded 75 nowadays. I'm also happy with their decision on not to put a knob on this, but again, this is just my own preference and it will still boil down to your own preference. Now, the Southfacing PCB is the cherry on top. Finally, Akko did it, and I respect them a lot for this change as they are really listening to what the community wants and what we are asking. It goes to show that somehow they really care and try to make the changes, so hands down to that for Akko. Now, moving on to my thoughts on the feel of the board. To be honest, I was surprised again as tapping on them feels really nice. It feels decent and I barely had any fatigues. Though I can feel some stiffness given that it is a top mount board and using a brass plate. But it's not really that harsh, and I can actually say that at times it has a soft typing feel. You can only feel a stiffness if you really bottom out, but it somehow has a nice give to it when typing. It has little to no flex, but the silicone O-ring, it did quite help balancing out the stiffness. But yeah, typing on the top 75 is quite fun, and you can't go wrong with top mounts. I just wish that they have offered different plate options other than the brass plate. Now let's talk about the stock stabs that it comes with. The stock stabs on these are really good, and the pre-lube on them is somehow consistent, and I can say that you can use them out of the box. Just add the switches and you should be good to go. The switches that we use were also pre-lube, and I'll do a full review on the sesame switches soon. But going back, surprisingly, the stock stabs are good as stock, and I just added a bit of lube using a syringe, but nonetheless, it's really good out of the box. Now let's move on to my thoughts on the sound. It do sound like a keyboard with a lot of dampening in it, but it sounds different from those keyboard that has a lot of foam in it. It's somewhat clacky with a bit subtle deep sound profile. But with that being said, I still find the sound profile a bit muted for my liking, and I just wish it sounded more fuller. I don't think it's because of the switches that we are using or the case. Maybe because of the brass plate, that's why it sounds a bit muted. But since it's an acrylic keyboard, there's really nothing to expect for the sound profile that you would really expect on. It's my second keyboard review, so I don't know, please give me the benefit of the doubt. Nonetheless, for me, it sounds like a decent keyboard. It didn't sound cheap, and it's not that hollow with the help of the silicone dampener. I'll see what mods that I can do with the keyboard, like adding a tape mod or maybe removing the switch pads. Overall, I'm really impressed and pleased with the board, but do I recommend getting this? Yes, I do, but not really to someone who has been exposed a lot in the hobby. As mentioned, this is a top mount board, so some might see it as an updated mounting style, but as mentioned, top mount boards is good. It isn't that bad and you can't go wrong with it. Now, I can't really say if it's an upgrade from the other Akko boards, as this is my first time reviewing an Akko board. But I can say for a beginner, this should be on your list in terms of considering a 75% keyboard from Akko. Now I know I have been critical with their switches, but with this board, considering this is just starting around 125, and it even supports screw-ins for the plates, I can say that Akko is really evolving, and I can really see the effort that they are doing for the community. They really make the market more competitive, which is really healthy as there are a lot of keyboards to choose from, which will help beginners enjoy their hobby or enjoy their journey with a custom keyboard hobby. And that is it for the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed my review on my very first Akko board. I also hope you find the build guide and the review helpful. If you do, please don't forget to hit the like button as it helps out my channel grow. We are aiming for 3,000 subscribers at the end of the year. So this is just my second time reviewing a board and I'm quite enjoying it. Watch out for the next keyboard that we'll be building and reviewing. What's next? Well, we still have the Akko V3 switches to review, so stay tuned for that. Again, don't forget to hit the like button, share if you want, and of course, subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys on the next review. Peace.